Good evening, viewers, and welcome to The Price of Fame. I'll be your host, Lunga Tshuka. So, The Price of Fame is a podcast that focuses on the real stories about the journey to success from the moment of realization of one's purpose or gift. And in these conversations, we aim to shed the light on the sacrifices, the hardships, and the mindsets that our guests have to overcome to achieve their current positions in their career. These are their stories. Dun, dun. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I've invited my guest for tonight is a Sama, a nominated artist for Best Pop Album category for his debut album called Break the Rules. Our artist also visited 67 schools across South Africa, motivating and just uplifting the kids and doing the best that he can with his music and everything. And speaking of which, some of you probably know a lot of his hits that has been playing on the radio stations across South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please help me welcome onto the screen with your likes and everything, Jarrad Ricketts.
Yes, Sky. Hey, how are you doing?
How are you doing, Jarrad?
I'm doing so well, thank you. It's so great to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Man, I actually wish I was there. Ladies and gentlemen, let's just take a moment to just look at everything. This guy is amazing, first of all. He looks amazing. I love his outfit and everything. His smile is just
Ay,
10%.
ay,
No,
ay.
sorry, it's 100%. And that red thing in the background, what do you call it? I don't want to say it's a red wall unit. Is it a French l'avant-voir? What do you call that? What's the proper term for it?
It's a No, it's a it's a red wall unit, and funny enough, I got this second hand and took it to a friend of mine who sprays cars, and I said,
Oh,
"Hey, man, spray this thing red for me," and he did just that. I'll move this way so you can see
wow,
the
that
whole thing.
looks amazing. So it's just a red wall unit.
And
I'm
it's so
looking
super
for a fancy because it looks so nice in the red. I thought it was a French design, a je ne sais quoi kind of thing, but kind of just a red wall unit.
cheap.
I, how are you
No, it's
doing,
just
brother?
a
How
wall unit.
how
Me,
are you
I'm
doing,
good.
man?
I thank you. It's been an interesting time. I'll say that.
Yes,
But
yes,
I'm doing
yes.
really good. I've got my health.
Yeah. How has 2021 actually been treating you so far?
Wow. So I think the beginning of the year was an interesting time. I came out of 2020 chasing, working hard, doing everything that I could to stay afloat. It was quite
Yes.
a difficult time for so many people, and I can attest to that. And I think the beginning of 2021 was an interesting time because I found myself living in a bit of the aftermath of 2020. When
Yes.
I was putting on a brave face, I was doing the most, and then boom, I realized, okay, it's another year. I'm probably going to have to push even harder. I'm going to have to, amp it up. If I thought I was
Yeah.
working hard in 2020 through the pandemic, 2021 was going to show me that I have to push even harder. So it's been a great start to the year. I've had some interesting things happen in terms of career navigation where I want to move to. But yeah, good thus far. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. And like you said you've been working and you've been doing such a lot of work. Now, the industry basically shut down for us in 2020, right? And
Mhm.
so many different industries, business, entertainment, you name it, across the whole world,
Mhm.
everything has been shut down. A lot of us artists took the time to, I don't know, get our refocus our priorities. A lot of us
Mhm.
lost a lot of our income, so we had to move back home and that kind of thing. And a lot of us also just waited it out and be like, you know what, when they open again, holla at your boy. But you,
Yeah.
I have you on WhatsApp, so I've been seeing like the updates of your journey and everything like that. And because the stage has been taken away from you, that did not stop you with connecting with the people. I mean, throughout the year, I've been seeing you doing a lots of giving back, charity, helping with food parcels and performing, and also seeing you praying for a lot of people, my man. And
Yeah.
it's not just 2020. It's not just like, oh, it's a pandemic and then you got inspired. I know you for actually doing this kind of thing behind the scenes, you know, and a lot of people probably don't know that about you. So can you please give us the reason, why do you live this kind of lifestyle? Why do you have such a big passion for giving back? And why in 2020, when everyone was like, I want to get home and safe, that's when you put on your cape and you actually went out there and you reached the people, those who we are afraid to like reach, you know, and like reach out and help. And you were there on the front line, brother. I would call you actually one of the frontline workers. So what inspired this kind of journey, you know? And yeah, man, just tell us about your experience last year, you know?
As you've mentioned, this is something I've been doing for the longest time. Even without having my foundation, I've been doing a lot of the community outreach that you speak of. And I thought that, as much as the pandemic is here, I cannot let that stop me from doing what I've always been doing. Yes, we were restricted in terms of we couldn't go here, stay inside our house, wear the mask, wear the whole garb, be careful, which we did. But I said to myself, I've got to be true to who I am, and I cannot just stop dead in the water. I've got a lot of people that depend on me. I
Yes.
have work that I started that I couldn't just stop. I think it's important for me always, outside of the pandemic, is to give, as you said, 110%, but to always never lose sight of the end goal, and in whichever way that I can push to be able to do what I do. And in
Yes.
lockdown, I started doing virtual concerts, much like this, but
Wow.
and I could do it with a full band, which was really cool. I was really happy to be able to create work for musicians. So I don't know if you
Yes.
saw any of my virtual concerts, but I had a lineup of about 10 people for the most, and it was really cool that through ticket sales I was able to, even though they were just performing one song, I could say, hey, for that one
Yeah.
song, here's $1,000. You know what I
Yes.
mean? There's
Wow.
something to carry you through the week. And
Yeah.
outside of that, I kept kids in mind, students in mind, and people who are struggling. And proceeds from my virtual concerts went to doing the work that I do in the communities. And
Yeah.
as much as I felt like my mental health was being compromised, as much as everyone else's at the same time, I think it's important that when you choose to be in the media, whether you're a singer, whether you are a comedian, a talk show host, a radio DJ, whatever it is that you choose, you know, you got to understand the responsibility that comes with that. It's not just about
Yes.
the ego of, oh, it's me, look at me, I'm singing, look at me, I'm doing this. It's about saying, hey, I've got this platform. These are really difficult times. How can I use this platform to kind of help us all move forward together? And that's always been my main focus, is how do we hold each other's hands, and make sure that everybody is earning an income, everybody is being seen. And outside of that, I'm a creative, so I kept coming up with new ideas. I launched a clothing brand. I was just trying to not allow that time to limit me, and to use the time to connect with my faith. I think lockdown was good in that it kind of got me to a space where God was like, hey, man, I'm taking everything away. It's just you and me. So we're going to have to realign everything that you've been doing and be focused on my creator. And in doing that, I found solace, I found strength. My faith was strengthened. And I think in that, I understood that we all have a greater purpose. It's not as obvious as just, oh, I'm a singer or you're a comedian. It's just a part of your journey, and I think that's
Yes.
what this whole 2020 did, for me.
Yes. Basically, it awakened you to your bigger purpose, to to who you truly are, and what you should be doing with your powers. And I love that, because the minute you mentioned that, it's something that I truly believe in too. You know, I believe that with our gifts that we were blessed with, you know, it's not just about your ego, it's not just about elevating yourself, you know, about like
Yeah.
getting the most money and all of those things. Because once you reach that, you actually realize something is still missing, and it's when you use
Hmm.
your to bless others. It's that when you truly feel fulfilled, you know, in doing it and in seeing like how it actually bless others, and like using your platform, like you said, to raise funds to either help with the kids or to either help other artists who had no
Yeah,
idea of how to make ends meet. And here you come with an opportunity. Yes, it was a show that happened over one night, but that 1,000 rand is a lot of money that they could not say where they were going to get it. You know, you could have,
yeah.
and these food parcels. I remember they were advertising these food parcels last year, and I think it like costed like probably $100 or $200. You know, I mean
Hmm.
that 1,000 could at least feed 5 families. You know,
That's what it's
so
about, man. That's what it's about.
so like I salute you, bro, and I firmly believe, and that's also with my talents and my gifts and everything. I use it for healing. I use it for entertainment, and for deeper reason, more than just seeing me on this or seeing me there. You
Yeah.
know, more than the ego and all of that. Yes, we do need a few material resources to help us elevate what we want to do, but
Hmm.
the real core reason of everything is because of to bless others, you know, and do the best with yours because it's
Hmm.
a God talent, you know. And we feel like I feel like a soldier, and
That's
I
it.
you definitely a soldier of the light, you know,
Hey, man.
and walking there with your
And how
mic
I
and your
feel. And just to add into what you're saying, it's also about realizing that outside of what we do, because sometimes we are defined by the jobs that we have.
yes,
Shouldn't be, but for the most part in the world that we live in, that's how it operates. We must also strip all that away and realize that we're all just people. We're all the
yeah,
same. There's no difference
yes,
between us. So whether I'm singer, songwriter, performer, and the person down the road doesn't necessarily do that, it doesn't make me any more special, um, or any, how could I say, doesn't put me sort of on a platform to say, hey,
yes,
me, and I should forget about you. I think the great thing about this pandemic is that it brought everybody down to one level. We're all
yes,
doing things that was kind of like, okay, tone down, guys. Let's not forget that we're
yes,
just people on this earth with our journeys. And in fact, our biggest purpose is to usher each other along. So, yeah.
yeah. No, definitely. I mean, we all deserve the qualities of this life and this planet, you know. And unfortunately, the Libra scale is very unbalanced, you know. So it's people like
Sure.
you and it's people like me who try to bring some of that and put it in that so that we can balance it, you know. And I love that. I love it. And I respect that about you, my man, 100%.
Thank you.
Um, but right now, you've been using your talent. We've been speaking about your talent, how you've been using it amazingly and all of that stuff. But right now, what we gonna do? We go back, way back into time. So I want to take it all the way back to the right to the beginning, before when you realized singing is for you and I'm gonna become Jarrad Ricketts. You know what? I
Gosh.
want to know
Yeah.
the passion when that bug bit you and you're like, this is it. This is me. You know, take me all the way to the beginning. What were you like before that? You know,
Wow.
did you think that this was gonna be you? You know, coming up to now, and let's take it back. Let's take it all the way back.
It's interesting because a lot of people who know me from when I was a child would know that I was very quiet. I was quite an introvert, funny enough. People kind of go, "Huh, you?" But it took a long time for me to sort of unpeel at this thing called my future and what it is that I want to be doing with my life. And I think I was about 9 years old when my mom forced me into the church choir. She was like, I heard you sing in the shower. There's something there, let's send you to choir practice, keep you out of mischief. And I did that. And I didn't become a singer because I woke up one day and said, hey, I think you could do this. I think
Yeah,
I became a singer because as I progressed with music, and more people turned around and acknowledged me and said, hey, I think you have something special. You should run with it. And on a side note, I think that's why it's so important for us to always encourage our youth, because as much as
yeah,
we're telling them search within, and you've got to look within to find that voice and to make things happen for yourself, it's important for us to say, hey, I see you, I acknowledge you, and you've got something special. Go with it. But anyway, so I was about 15 when I started doing music professionally, which means like performing at festivals, performing at shows. My very first concert happened at the waterfront, and I was 15 years old. And it was so scary because there I was with a professional band behind me. I'm not formally trained as a musician. I've got an audience of like a couple of thousand in front of me, and yeah, I've got to do this gig. And I just came alive that day, and I realized, hey, I'm not sure if this is going to be my career, but it's definitely something I enjoy, which I think is most
Yeah.
important than deciding on making something a career. Is that you've got to wake up and love it and want to do it all day. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's where it came from, and it was quite weird because it took years for me to not become shy, to not become scared of being on stage, because I'm actually quite anxious by nature. So people that have seen me, even to this day, when it's time for me to hit the stage, I'm okay. But a few minutes before I have to like do what I need to do, I'm like shaking, and I'm like, "Do you think I'm gonna be okay? Do you think I'm gonna be fine?" And my manager's like, "You've asked me this 7 times. You're gonna be okay." And
Yeah.
growing up and trying to get into the music industry was a really tough one. And a lot of it was because of the narrative that we are told as children coming from the Cape Flats. And
Yeah.
it was something that I had to break. Uh, it wasn't just, as you've mentioned, when did I decide this is going to be my career? I knew I had the talent. I knew that I enjoyed entertaining. But before I could even get to that stage, I had to really deconstruct the walls that society built up. You know, for a
Yeah.
colored boy coming from Athlone, who comes from a home where we just about have enough money to eat and to go to school. Um, how was I think for me it was, how am I actually going to make this happen? Am I going to believe what people are saying, which is, for a guy like you coming from where you come from, it's never going to happen, because things like
Yeah.
that don't happen for people like us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And as I chipped away at all of that, I think that is how it became more real that, hey, this could become a career. But of course,
Yeah.
it comes with a lot of, as you mentioned, sacrifice, a lot of closed doors in your face, a lot of no's. I mean, I think the first term I learned in the music industry was no.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but yeah, I mean, I think we can connect on that level, in that you've also experienced that in this business. Is that people just see the end result. People just see the glossy side of it, the byproduct that is you on stage doing what you're doing. There's an audience, they're captivated, they're loving it. People are talking about you in the media, but people don't have insight into that journey, what it took, to
Yeah.
get to that point, and to get people. When I say people, I mean the audience, the viewers. People don't understand what it takes for them, for you to get them to believe in what you're doing,
Oh yeah.
so
Oh
that you
yeah.
can be and do what you do. Anyway, yeah.
No, it's very true, and I'm glad you touched on that because it's really interesting. And I'm gonna be one of those people, like you said, when you actually say that you are an introvert, because I find that look, I kind of understand because I'm the same. If you see me in person, you would, and especially if I'm in a new crowd or whatever, I'll be like probably the most quietest person, just observing and whatever.
Hmm.
And then you just be like, all right, Lunga going in stage in 3, 2, 1, and then you see this crazy guy
Yeah.
with all of this. Yeah, it's like the complete flip. So is going on, But for me, I never thought that about you, because the way you handle yourself on stage, like you really know how to put a show together. I've shared the
Thank
stage with you
you.
a couple of times with Raw as well, and also other stages with you. And you don't just perform, okay, my next song is this and my next song is this. You tell people if something inspired you about the song, you let them know. You tell
Yeah.
them that you've been through strength or whatever. This song means this or whatever, and you literally take people on a journey. Sometimes they even stand up and enjoy it fully, it's
Yeah.
really for me to believe that you're an introvert when you have so much control and you're so confident on stage. But I do understand the switch. I do understand the switch as an
Yeah.
artist.
Yeah.
It takes a while, eh? It takes a while. You know,
It
it's
does
it's
take
like
a
they say.
while, and
It's like when they say
mhm.
fake it till you make it.
Sure, and that's what I was about to say. Is a lot of people don't realize is that there's a lot of not even knowing what you're doing in the moment that you're doing it. It's winging it. It's. But I think that's when you. The one thing about being shy and moving into this business, I think it's a benefit for you
Yeah,
to be shy by nature, because what it teaches you is to really connect with your audience, to really feel and read the room. You know,
Yes.
being a shy person wanting to get on stage, I had to kind of meet everyone's energy halfway. I had to be like, okay, where are people at? How are they feeling? How do I make them feel better? And as entertainers, that's our job, is we facilitate
Yeah.
that transition from being whatever space they are into making them feel happy. And I
Yeah.
think the joy about what I enjoy about performing is that I can physically see people breaking down their barriers and realizing that, hey, if he can get on a stage and do it, then surely I can do anything with my life, you know?
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
yeah,
And listen, man, you also mentioned like at some point in your career, in the journey that there's been these voices, of like this colored guy from trying to make it and trying to push all the way from Athlone. Were those voices mostly in your head, or was it also coming from the people in your community and maybe from family as well?
interesting things. So a lot of it was me. A lot of it was me just feeling like you never, it's South Africa, it's Cape Town. How many stories have we heard of people that actually make it? And I think that is why, for you being where you are, Lunga, and for me being where we are, I think it's very important that there's a representation now. Because when we were trying to make things happen, we never had that, man. There were very few stories of people that from where we come from actually doing stuff. And
Yeah.
those who did make it never ever turned around and extended a hand to say, hey, this is how you do it, you know?
Yes.
And a lot of it was me, but a lot of it was, and this is the funny thing about the industry that I think the viewers are going to probably go like, is that a lot of it was from peers in the industry,
Oh
because
yeah.
the industry is so competitive that what the audience and what viewers don't realize is that it's almost like high school.
Yeah.
You walk into school, they're the cool kids, they are the artsy kids, they are the this, and the music industry is exactly the same in that you try and enter this game and you feel immediately that actually there's certain circles that I'm never going to be a part of. There's certain shows,
Yes.
certain avenues, just
Yeah.
because there are people there who are also musicians, who are also comedians, that don't want you to take up the space that they're already taking. And
Yeah.
I think what I'm trying to do with my career and with my music and with who I am is to show people that we all have a space to fill. And
Yes.
when we all have a space to fill, it's okay to extend a hand and help someone. It's okay to open up a door for someone. It's okay to help someone build their career. I wish that when I started that I had people who could open up doors and say, hey, I see you struggling, man. Let me help you with this. Or hey, there's an
Yeah.
opportunity here. Do you know about it? Can I show you how to apply or how to do certain things? And growing up in this industry, as mentioned, I started at the age of 15. I immediately saw that, Ishman, this is going to be a rough one. It's going to be a
Yeah.
rough one, especially if you are focused and you know who you are and where you want to go. Um, and I think it doesn't just apply to the music industry. For anybody watching, when you're in your lane and you have this light and you want to shine, there are
Yeah.
always going to be people out there that want to dim that light or people that want to curve you. But I also
Yeah.
want to encourage all of you that God has got a plan and a path for you. So as much as people try to do whatever they do to stop your growth, to stunt your growth, um, when God's behind you and He's propelling you, there are no doors that can close that God opens for you. So yeah,
Yeah. I love that. I love that. You know what? I think we have so much in common in terms of our mindset and how we are actually driven. Because like just like you said now with the rejection is real. And it's not only from clients, it's sometimes from your peers, where you feel like for a fact, like, I will never be part of that clique. They'll never book me for those shows or what that kind of thing. And it's in every industry. It's in every industry. I mean, I've experienced it
yeah,
as well in the comedy industry, where you can just see certain clicks and you're just like, I probably will never get booked for this kind of gig or whatever, or never be
yeah,
part of. that experience, because people can be so cliquey and be funny with each other. But like you also said, also, and like what you ended with is like people can do what they want to do, and if God has got a plan for you, they fall to the side no matter how much, because they will never
Sure.
see the next step. They'll never see the next step. You'll
That's the
always
thing.
surprise them. They'll be like, okay, close this door. And then did they know that that was meant for you to be close so that you can actually look in this other direction. And they think they have the power of like making you feel or whatever, controlling your emotions, controlling how you move, how much people get you, how much success they have no
Yeah,
control
man.
over. So anyone
That's
who
it.
is facing this kind of challenges is if there's artists or just audience members, you get these trolls on social media that
Yo.
just like they can just tell you anything and they don't care that you have feelings or not. If you're dealing
Mhm.
with any of, just brush it to the side. Remember, they never put you where you were, and you were never doing it for them anyways. And if they don't like it, why are they here?
Boom.
Move on.
Why are you here?
Why
Take
are
the
you
next
here?
train. Take the next
Exactly.
train.
There is
Um,
a next every one of us, and Jay
that's
something
it.
also said one time, not Jay something. I was at yeah, he echoed it, but another woman said this. I was at an event called Your Story. I think you were there. I'm not too sure if you were there.
Yes, Henry,
Yes,
Henry's events.
yes, and at the event, this one speaker, she said that we are like the stars in the sky. There's place for every star in the sky. There's place for each and every
Yeah.
one. So
And
like,
that's
don't let
the
anyone
thing,
try and
man.
knock or be like there's only one. You know what? Screw that. You're gonna climb always like go over that and grow and excel. My next
And
question for you.
it's not easy. Just to add on what you're saying, it's not easy.
Yeah,
And what I also want to say is that it's also on you. We always, as much as I said that there are gatekeepers and there are people that try to prevent certain things from happening, we also have the power to choose our response. And I
yes,
think it's important to to really be present when you're making those choices in your mind, choosing who you want to be in this world and how you want to navigate. Because I've had many a no said to me, you've had many a no said to you, whether it's from the industry, whether it's from a client. And as
yeah,
long as you want to grow, as long as you trust yourself, and as long as you understand, as I said before, that we all have our own journey, man. I was never the cool kid at school. I was never the cool kid people wanted to hang around with. And to a certain
yeah,
degree, at this age of life, I still feel like I'm not the cool kid. But when I became okay with that, and when
yeah,
I became okay with the fact that as you said, there are spaces I'm never going to work in, that's
yeah,
okay. It's okay, because if any space requires you to change who you are, it's not worth it anyway.
yeah. True, 100%. Always stay true to
Yeah.
yourself. And coming all the way from Athlone, what part of
Yeah.
Athlone did you grow up in?
So I grew up in Greenhaven, and that's
Lena?
close to. Do you know where Greenhaven is?
Not really. I don't know Athlone that well. I only know few parts of Athlone.
Yeah, so they are like, the strip where they've got the Golden Dish and all of that, and
Yes,
Club
yes.
Galaxy and all. So I'm from that side of the fence. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
like the ghetto and everything. Not the ghetto, I mean, like Athlone and in most communities in the Cape Flats, we face challenges like gangsterism,
Uh,
drugs, and all of. Did any of those challenges come to your doorstep? Did you have to sift your way through any of those challenges growing up in
for
Athlone?
sure. I mean, it was definitely a part of the makeup of my community that I come from. I did see it all the time. You can't lie and say that when you come from the Cape that you never saw an element of drugs, an element of gangsterism, an element of all these kind of social ills, alcoholism, substance abuse. And I was just really fortunate that I had parents who I wouldn't say protected me, but they had a lot of ground rules growing up, which kind of
Yeah,
kept myself and my siblings on the straight and narrow path. Of course,
yeah,
we're human. Um, I mean, I do have friends to this day that are still struggling with substance abuse from Athlone. It's just up to you. You're either going to become part of that, or you're going to choose education, you're going to choose your dreams, and you're going to cut all of the noise out. And I think I was
yeah,
just really fortunate. I can't say that I'm any different to any other child coming from Athlone. All I can say is I was really fortunate that I had good parents, and also I was strong enough at the time to say
Yeah.
no to certain things because um, you know what it's like. I mean, it's everywhere, and like you say, when you want to fit in and when it's a part of the culture of an area, how do you fight it? You know, how do you fight it? And thank God I was an introvert because I spent most of my time indoors anyway. I wasn't the child who was really playing outside all the time because my mom would always be like, "Hey, 6 o'clock, you must be inside." And
Yeah.
yeah, and I think it's it's a tough one because even I go to schools and I do my motivational talks to this day. It's sad to see that it's still a big part of our community, and to see that there
Yeah.
are kids that still don't know that there are other paths, there are other options for them. I think that's
Yeah.
it. Maybe that's the answer that I'm trying to say is that fortunately I grew up in a home where I knew that there were other options out there for me, you know, and it
Yes.
wasn't about money. It wasn't about, we were not well off, but I think the conversations we had at home were always around, you know, there's more out there. You know, there's so much more you can do.
Yeah.
And I think that is what helped me on a daily basis to make conscious choices to get me to this point.
Yeah. That's amazing, man. And with your music career, did you ever like find yourself in some kind of a dip where you felt like, you know what, is music still something what I want to do? Am I a musician? Like, did you ever get that moment where you like hit
Yeah.
rock bottom, where no one probably knows, and then you like had to just re-question everything and just remind yourself who you are and just super saiyan back out of that. You ever have a moment
Yeah,
like
you
that?
know, a bit of a hair reference there. Nah?
I remember that. Yeah.
But I you know, gosh, I've had a lot of those moments, and I don't think they ever go away. Because when you are your own boss, when you are steering your own ship, when you are in a career that is so competitive, where there are 10,000 of you out there, all trying to do the same thing, which is to stay afloat, to make a bit of money and survive, um, with limited opportunities to do that. Because there are times where someone else gets the gig and you don't get the gig. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes it happens more often where you don't get the gig.
Yep.
And it's those days when you kind of question,
Yeah.
am I relevant? Am I going to be able to do this for a long time? Did I make the right choice for becoming a musician? Because it's not just the opportunities that are maybe missed. There's still people that literally will say, "You sure you want to be a musician, man? You know, like, you don't make much money." And I'm so grateful that in my career I was able to prove a lot of people wrong. That I could make this my career and make it sustainable.
Yeah.
Even to this day, look, I've had Saba nominations, number one songs. I've traveled and got to perform my music. Um, and as much as from the outside people go, wow, like how does one get those
Yeah.
opportunities and how do you make it happen? I think people will be very surprised to see that before any of that even happens, there is a lot of work that I have to do daily on a daily basis just to make sure that mentally I'm there, you know.
Yeah.
And even during this pandemic, my mental health was compromised, like the rest of the world, where there were days where I felt like there's absolutely no way around this, and I don't think I'll be able to continue doing what I'm doing. I don't think I can wake up in the morning and be my biggest cheerleader and say, Jarrad, it's gonna get better. You know, one day that big break is gonna come. It's not easy. It's not easy to be who you need to be for other people.
Yeah.
Because what a lot of people also don't realize is when you're in the public eye, like you, Lunga, and myself and our peers, is that there's also this thing where we don't want to let people down who support us, and we don't want to let the public down. And that's where I think it gets very hairy because you're having this emotion, you're feeling stressed out, but when it's lights, camera, action, you can't show that. You've got to be who you are for those people.
The show must
And
go on.
and and that's where I think that mental tug of war happens where am I good enough? Can I do this? But I have to step out and I have to. So you never really get to consolidate these emotions, you know.
Yeah.
And as I've mentioned, to this day, I still have those days where I'm going, ish, hey, this month is looking a little rough, when it's a little when the month was a little bit rough, then the hair
Yeah.
was not so GHD in it, you know. And then
Yeah.
that's what I'm. That's what I can tell when it's not on check. I'm like, ish, guy, it's not happening this month. Things are going
Yeah.
rough here.
How about the hair? You
But
can tell me.
I think what you are doing is amazing because you're
Thank
creating
you.
this platform. It's also allowing, yes, people like me to connect with your audience and vice versa. But I think you're telling the necessary stories that need to be told because outside of being musicians and comedians, we're people. We are people with
Yes.
emotions. We're people that worry just like you. We don't want that call
Yes.
center to phone us at the end of the month and say, "Sir, you're behind in this payment. When are you going
Yeah.
to do it?" Um,
Exactly.
and so I want to applaud you for that, man. I think it's
Thank
brilliant
you so
that you also said, "Hey, I'm going to make this work. I'm going to get up. I'm going to create something new and tell stories." And I
Yeah.
think essentially that is what is keeping us all safe is that there are more and more platforms that are removing this high gloss that used to be there before. And we're starting to tell our stories. And there's
Yes.
power in that. There's power in that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Because you never know who is out there who's facing some of the challenges that you've overcome. And they'll be like, oh, my word, you actually been through the same thing I've, and oh, you come from the same era that I've been, like, and it inspires
Yeah.
people, adds so much value to the people that we appreciate, like just hearing
Hmm.
about, like you're saying, your story actually makes you real now. You're not just a superstar, it actually makes you so real
Yeah.
and feels
Yeah.
more, somehow just brings me more closer to you. And I'm speaking also in terms of like other like fans who you've never probably met. Now they feel like they've probably gotten a lot closer to you, and they probably
Yeah.
understand most of what you've been through. So that's also the reason why I wanted to start the show, to share the real life stories about our people that we admire, so that we can see them also as real people and appreciate them as well. And see like how much our support means and it helps them. So that's really awesome.
Yeah.
You
Proud of you
mentioned
for
being,
that, man.
sorry?
Proud of you for that. I think it's
Yeah.
great that you're doing what you're doing.
Thank
And
you.
just to
Thank
add to
you.
what I said earlier, something that I did was on the top of my tongue, but I forgot, is that I'm the ambassador for Cape Mental Health. And I also will disclose that on my journey of music, I have suffered with depression myself. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to see that people are getting platforms and opportunities where we're actually talking about this thing called depression. It's not
Yeah.
something we should hide anymore. It's not something we should feel like. Because you know what it's like when we come from, hey, reg man, verwapeltjie
Yeah.
so wees korrek, gaan kyk of iets, gaan bid vir yourself.
Yeah.
But they don't talk about the fact that depression is real, and when things aren't going your way, you can hit rock bottom so quickly. And
Yeah.
it's something that is prevalent when I go to schools. Kids are talking to me about it. Just this weekend, we saw what depression can do. I mean, when we speak about AKA Miss Beyonce, and
Yes.
just her suffering with depression and committing suicide.
Yeah.
Suicide is still such a massive thing out there, and there's so many kids who resort to this because they don't see an escape, they don't see a way out, and it could have so easily have been us, Lunga, because if we
Yeah.
didn't have the examples we had, or the drive that we had, or the passion to go out and educate ourselves and what we can do with our lives, we could have also
Yeah.
been caught in that web, and chosen that
Yeah.
path. And so yeah, this journey is rough, but life everybody has its moments, and as I've mentioned before, it's about how we choose our reactions. And I just think that if you are in a bad space, if you are feeling like there are no avenues for you to move out, just remember that sometimes because there are no avenues out there, you've got to create something new and do something new and exciting. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means you've got to work extra hard. It just means that you've got to do your research. It just means that um, you got to make sure that you're constantly working at yourself. And I think when you're constantly working at yourself, you can recognize when, hey, I'm not feeling great today, or I'm going down on a downward spiral. And so it's becoming more self-aware, you know?
Yeah.
So for anybody out there, if you're feeling that way, just become more self-aware and realize that. And someone said this to me, and it didn't make sense before, but during lockdown, it made sense. You might not always have what you want, but you always have what you need to start if
Yeah.
you need to start to take yourself to the next level. But sometimes you just don't see it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and that's very true. That is very, very true. And yeah, like mental health and depression is a real thing. And for like I like to also add that I'm also a mental health activist, and a lot before I started to educate myself on mental health, my idea of mental health was like people like people like
Yeah.
you're just sitting in a wheelchair and you can't do anything. I thought that's only mental health, not knowing that only
Yeah.
once I educated myself with mental health, I realized, wow, I actually have a mental health challenge, because of my bullying. I do certain things in a certain way and I'm reacting because of the wound. So that serves as a mental health. So those things I learned when I was trying to like learn about mental health, and just to break the stigma for those who think that mental health is just about people who's basically brain dead, or is a
Yeah.
vegetable, or just mentally can't like you do things. It's not only for those people. It's
Yeah.
also depression is a sign of mental health, you know. And
Sure.
depression comes in very different faces. It comes in the face that's always happy but crying at home. It comes in the face that is always quiet and just still. It comes in the face that the one that just takes his life just so suddenly, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
It comes in so many different faces, and it's also mental health and depression really go together. And I'm glad that you shared that you've also had these challenges, because I mean, through all of your strength and glory that you've been trying to share with other people behind closed doors, you also have your own challenges, and you also battling
Yeah.
with your own self. And like you say, when they put on the lights, you just gotta do it because the show must go on. You
I mean,
know?
Lunga, look, there were days where I had to do a motivational talk. And I'm standing there in front of people talking about, encouraging them and motivating them. But inside in that moment, I am broken. I am down. I am
Wow.
feeling my own kind of way, and it's exactly what you're saying, that mental health affects us on various levels. We know the severe cases, we know the not so severe cases, we know the emotional side to mental health. And I think as long as we keep having these discussions, more and more people will stop shying away, or
Yeah.
we'll stop this thing of people saying, um, you know, nature is not crazy, or being
Uh,
afraid of being labeled as crazy.
uh,
Um,
Net late, man. They
Whenever
net.
you're not chased it late, yeah, and I mean, depression makes you do things like not be able to get out of bed. I've been there where people are like, just get up, come on, and I physically can't.
Yes.
I'll share this with you, and I haven't really spoken to people about this. It's even I took so long to answer you when you said how is 2021 been treating you? I mean, just in January, I had a bit of a meltdown, um,
Yeah.
because I just became so anxious and fearful. And I started feeling like, man, is there a way out of this? And what is life gonna be like? And I've got to
Mm,
do this year like I did last year and push hard. And I have to be successful. I have to make this work. And I owe it to myself. I put so much work into this. I cannot crash now. And the beginning of 2021 was really rough. As
yeah.
much as there are moments that are great and there are opportunities, sometimes you don't see those opportunities because of that mental state that you're in. And
True.
fortunately, with my manager, who's also my wife, Kim, she's always check. Yeah, now she's always and she's really been so great at just making sure that I'm okay, and that's just her asking, how are you feeling? And maybe allowing me to feel that
Mm,
way. But she's like, okay,
very important.
you can feel like that for 3 hours, but then you gotta then you gotta snap out of it. Or you can feel that way for 10 minutes, but then you gotta there's actually work that needs to be done. And
Yes.
there was a time she was actually I was getting all these inquiries in the beginning of the year, and she actually didn't follow up with them. Because she was waiting for me to be okay, and I think that's also important that from last year and the year before that and the year before that, I think for the last 5 years I've been pushing and pushing and pushing. Last year was the first time I had a break in December, and that's because I couldn't work because of the
Yeah.
pandemic.
Yeah.
Um, but it made me
Wow.
realize I spend so much time. I'm the one working on public holidays. I'm the one working at festivals. I'm the one doing the New Year's Eve gig, the
On
Christmas gig.
weekends.
My weekends are not my own. And as much as I love what I do, I think this meltdown, the beginning of the year, was because I wasn't resting. I wasn't looking after myself. And to a certain degree, I'm learning to shape that voice, that tells me that if I'm not busy, if I'm not doing something, then all my hard work is going to be in vain, and things are going to fall apart. And so I'm learning that it's okay to also just be,
Yeah.
if it makes sense, and to not be defined by what I do.
Yeah.
Um, in this quiet time, funny enough, I actually got to learn about who Jarrad is, but not Jarrad, who's always been Jarrad the singer to everyone.
Yes.
When that was taken away from me, I kind of went like, but now if I'm not singing,
Yeah.
who is Jarrad really?
Yeah.
You know? And it's amazing because then I got to I'm doing fashion. I'm doing work with corporates that are completely unrelated to just me singing. And it's opened up this whole new avenue of job opportunity, of redefining, I think, for this next decade, who I am, and not to kind of limit myself so much, because I'm 34 years old. So for 34 years, not 34 years, um, but yeah, you get what I'm saying, is that I've always been the singer. And I
Yeah.
think it's exciting that I get to explore other avenues of myself. Like you used to just be the comedian, but now you're like this virtual show host and MC and all these things. And the crazy thing is, would you have been doing this had it not been for the pandemic? And the chances are probably would not have, because we wouldn't need to be, you know?
Yeah.
But the
Um,
exciting thing is that you're getting to explore the side of yourself.
yeah. No, true, true, true. I mean, this was an idea that I had, but like before lockdown, like you say, you're so busy and you're so up and down. I have so much ideas that I had on the back seat. But like lockdown is like, "Zhoop, I'm gonna take away the stage for you." So it gave me an opportunity to like explore and do other things. I wrote more material. I started putting my
Yes,
projects
yeah.
in order, even coming up with this platform, like you said. So that's pretty cool. A little bit, like you said, with the whole thing of like, who is Jarrad Ricketts? Now we know you so well as an amazing performer, an amazing motivational speaker.
Thank you.
What else do we not know about Jarrad Ricketts? I know that you also have your clothing line testimony, and
Mm-hmm.
which actually has, I think it's a scripture that has
Correct.
underneath testimony.
Correct.
Yeah. Also with the giving back, do you belong to an organization? Do you run an organization, or do you just like to help wherever you can? You bounce around and help wherever you can, like that. And what else are you doing that we do not know of? And what else do you still want to do or become?
Sure. So I got my own foundation. It's the Jarrad Ricketts Foundation. and I do help other foundations out there. So through what I do is I raise money, and then we take that money, or we collect food and we collect clothes, and then my foundation goes and we distribute it to other foundations in respective areas to do the work that they do. Because what a lot of people don't realize is that when creating a foundation, there are territories, and there are spaces other foundations are affecting. And so I
Yeah.
said, well, if I can't affect an area, why don't I just create a foundation that can also collect and do things on behalf of other organizations? And
Yeah.
that's been really cool. And I'm so excited. I'm really excited because in May, my foundation has collaborated with Lego League, and I'm
Wow.
on the Ball Foundation, and we are going to be taking robotics to schools.
Look at you.
So what a lot of people don't know is that I am really into tech. I'm really into the future world of work. And with my wife being an industrial psychologist, we are always talking about the skills that are needed for the future, for the workspace, the online space, and all of that. And so I'm really excited that with my team, we are able to take robotics to schools and kids who would otherwise not have a seat at the table regards to
Yeah.
conversations about their future, about robotics, about the industry. And it's about a 15-week course that we're going to be doing with them, which is really cool. Next month, I'm also starting my journey to becoming a radio presenter. So I'm doing a course. I'm the face of a course called Radio Bros. And so they'll be teaching you the ins and outs of radio. And you don't have to want to be in radio to do it. It's just valuable skills to have to give you that edge for whatever it is that you want to be doing in the future. Outside of that, gosh, I'm doing a lot of things. So my wife Kim, you know her well. She's
Yes.
also getting involved in fashion. She'll be launching something very soon. Together, we're also doing something in fashion. And gosh, I'm trying to think of everything. There's 10,000 things. I'm also releasing new music still, so I'm still doing that. I'm still performing, doing various concerts. I'm trying to think of everything, but there's
Yeah.
10,000 things happening at the same time. And with my foundation, I love giving back. I love having purpose, and I think the most important thing is having purpose for living. It's
Yeah.
about using this existence, this gift called life that we all have. When you wake up in the morning and your lungs full up with air, that's an
Yeah.
amazing opportunity to use what you have to create positive change in your immediate space or the spaces that you want to affect. And so I feel really blessed. I really feel blessed, Linga, because I can honestly say it's not about money. I've just been truly, truly lucky to have friends in the business like yourself and a couple of other
Yeah.
people who I can collaborate with and I can always do really cool projects with. And so
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how this year unfolds.
Oh yeah,
And
me too.
I'll keep you updated on the robotics. Maybe it's something you want to get involved in. Come and visit one of the schools that we are doing the robotics course with. Maybe you want to share something with the kids, or come and see what it's about, what it looks like, what it
Yeah.
feels like to be in that space. So I'll be
All
hollering
that
at
be,
you for that. Hey, that's a dope
I'll
robot
be
voice.
there. I'll be a
I
robot.
feel like
I'll be there.
there's a music
That's,
feature somewhere. I think we could do a little feature in a song when you do that voice.
oh snap.
Oh yeah, just get me.
I'll
Yeah.
talk like that. Let me say
Where's the toilet? When we're having lunch. Thank you very much.
it.
I
Jarrad, we
dare
are
to do
running.
your next interview like that.
Sorry. Yeah. Look, we're running out of time. I've been just having
Uh-huh.
such an amazing time with you. I feel like we need to catch up about this video. Just
Yeah,
continue speaking.
yeah.
No. Listen, I got two questions. So
Uh-huh.
just before we wrap up, my second last question would be any mentors that you've had along the way, that have maybe guided you or have just given you advice, or any silent mentors or whatever. And if
Mhm.
or you a mentor to anyone. So have you had any of that kind of support along your way, or still do?
Definitely. So I wouldn't say mentors in that it was officially a mentorships that I had. Sorry, my camera just jumped there. But I I've had great friends in business that I could call upon.
Yeah.
People like Kurt and Timorese, who are the music directors of Idols in South Africa. Kurt was in 101, and
Yes.
Timorese
Yes.
is a well-established R&B singer. Johan Stimmet, who runs Noord for Noord, Music Collect, he's got his own production
Ah,
company. Emo Adams
yes.
has been a great source of mentorship for me. Um, People in the mayoral office, people in fashion. I've had a great opportunity to be mentored by people from the Platinum Group who developed Hilton Wiener, Jenny Button, Urban, Vertigo, all those clothing stores. So a lot of my friends in the business actually helped me develop my brand testimony that you spoke about. And I'm
Yeah.
really excited about testimony because I'm dropping the new hoodie at the end of May. So I'm really excited about that. And I think it's important. I think it's important not only to go and find a mentor. I think it's important for us who have been in the business for a while to offer that to people. I
Yes.
think there's a wealth of knowledge that we've acquired. And I think the thing about mentorship is that people must remember is that we're not saying we have all the answers. All we can say is this is what's worked for us and this is how we've done things. My wife as well, she's a mentor. She's got her own organization called Kanisa, which means light. And she mentors young women, especially young women of color, on career choices, on subject choices, on taking up space as a woman in the workspace, in the workforce, moving from now into the future. So she does a lot of that. So I learned a lot from her as well. And I can honestly say I just have a lot of great friends in the business, from
Yeah.
radio to TV to
Com-
organizations, whichever space I like to fill.
and
Hey,
comedy.
come on, come on. I'm not that funny though. Like I'm not that I can't crack. I'm the knock knock guy. Knock knock. Who's there? And then it dies
Fine.
from there.
I'll do the joke.
It's
You
not
do
a
the
thing.
melodies, jokes. I can't sing, so it's fine.
That's a cool show we can do together. He does
You
the
do
melody.
comedy.
He does the jokes.
Be- and we must put the
It's a vibe.
disclaimer: no taking your money back.
We've taken it, and you're stuck here for the hour.
Yeah. All right, Jarrad, just to wrap this up, I want to take you into my time machine and I want to take you all the way back to the young Jarrad Ricketts who started out with this whole thing, right? Into the time machine. And we are going back right now. And it's the Jarrad of today. Right? You've walked the journey, you've seen everything that you've seen, you know all the challenges, and you've overcome so much. You're going to now give advice to the Jarrad that is just starting out. What would you say to him to prepare him for the journey to becoming who you are? If you had like one piece of advice that you could give him,
Sure.
what would that be?
I think I would just tell myself that you are more than enough and that you are more than capable. It doesn't matter. Your story doesn't matter. Where you come from doesn't matter. It's all about keeping that hope alive within yourself. It's okay to knock your head and to trip and fall, but just make sure that you always get up and don't talk yourself out of so many things. Stop psyching
True.
yourself out of opportunities because you feel afraid or you feel that fear. And trust your path, trust your journey, and just continue to treat people with respect. Continue
Yeah.
to no matter who they are. Because the one thing I'm proud of is that whether you were the tea lady, the cleaner, or the CEO, I've always just treated people the same way. And it's been
Yes.
an interesting journey, Lunga, because I've had so many moments, and those are like movie moments where I was kind to someone and they used to be, say,
Yeah.
the front desk at the company, the receptionist, when other people are treating this person like crap. I was like, hey, are you good? Do you want some tea? Can I help
Yeah.
you? And um, moving in the circles, eventually meeting this person again they actually went back to study and they were running the company that I was trying to collaborate with for something in the future. And so just treat people equally, treat them with respect, and have fun while you're doing it. Don't be so serious
Yes.
because
Most importantly,
damn, oh,
enjoy.
I can kick myself. I can kick myself. My 20s went by like this because I was
Yeah.
so focused on being perfect, so focused on chasing and being that businessman, being that musician, being that guy, that by the time I hit 30, I blinked and I was like, I wasn't present because I was
Yeah.
chasing whatever it was that I was chasing. And although that is important, it's important to be present as well.
Yeah.
So be present, enjoy the dark moments, enjoy the happy moments. It's all a part of life because I'll end off by saying this: it doesn't matter what you achieve in this world. When we leave this earth, we leave with nothing, man.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely correct. That is what we will leave behind for those to help them go further. Our kids and our legacy and everything like that. Jarrad, I love you, my brother. You are
Love you, my
amazing.
friend.
And
Thank
we've
you.
had a really, really good show with you tonight. Thank you so much for opening up and allowing people to see how real you are and how real the things that you face as well, And I mean, like from my side, from where I'm sitting, I've only been seeing the highlights and the punches. And like I said, you didn't stop when most people were like taking the time out to focus on other things or focus on themselves and redirect things. You just kept on going. I didn't say, Jarrad, sit down, take a break. You still kept on
Yeah.
pushing and so now. And I'm looking forward to all these other things that you mentioned that you're going to be doing. So, ladies and gentlemen, please follow this man. He is amazing. Like I said, you've learned so much tonight, like I've learned about him. So please follow this man on all his platforms and be part of his
Give me a
journey.
high five, man.
Wait,
Other end, other end. Oh, come
yeah.
on! But
So follow all of his,
I,
ladies and gentlemen, be part of his journey because we cannot do this without you, and you are a big part of all of our journey. So please follow him on all of his social platforms, and let's make the entertainment industry within South Africa the best supported by locals because local talent is liquor talent. Jarrad Ricketts, you've
Liga,
been
liga,
amazing,
liga, 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 liga.
brother.
Look after yourself, brother. Proud of you always. Congratulations. Looking forward to next week.
Right. See you, bro. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. We had Jarrad Ricketts tonight, and we learned so much. I hope you enjoyed tonight's show. Also, please do follow me on all my social platforms. On Facebook, you can reach me at Lunga Tshuka, the Energizer Funny. That is Lunga Tshuka, the Energizer Funny. And on Instagram, you can reach me at Lunga Tshuka. That is at Lunga Tshuka. And please go over to my YouTube page and like and subscribe. Put up the numbers. Come on. I know you're watching this. I get 20, 30 likes on Facebook, but one like on YouTube. Come on, guys. Move over. All right, that is it for me. Lunga Tshuka, I've been your host. This is The Price of Fame. Good night.